What is going on, guys? We have the TFT patch notes for 12.15, and this patch is pretty important because the mid-set finale is going to be played on this patch, so a lot of implications there. So let's take a look at the summary. Up top, we have a buff to Shimmer Scale, Eye of the Storm, Intracosmic Gifts, Ezreal, Kayn, Twitch, Lee Sin, and Xayah. So all the Swift shots are being buffed up a little bit. Shimmer Scale getting a little adjustment. We'll see what it is exactly. And then Eye of the Storm, I'm excited for this one because a lot of the Dragonmancer comps have kind of taken the back seat. They were a little dominant before, but they should be coming back after these buffs. We'll check out what they are though. Adjusting Trainer, Senna, and Shyvana, and then nerfing Stand United, Gargoyle, Stoneplate, and Nami. Yeah, Nami is a pretty big issue, so I do agree with that. Pool Party eggs. So we could get a bunch of new eggs now. They have like this shark guy, and then I forget what this one was. That might be Aoshin or something like that. So first up are the large changes. Let's go over the traits first. Cavalier bonus armor and magic resist is being reduced a tiny bit. I actually really agree with this because when you buff some of the Dragonmancers, the Cavalier Volibear build might become stronger and stronger, so it is good that they're adjusting this a little bit. Cavaliers are actually like probably one of my favorite tank classes to splash around just because they don't need that many people to activate the trait. Shimmer Scale, needlessly big gem, living units needed per 1 gold is being changed from 3 to 2. That's pretty big. This is one of like, I'd say one of the worst items for Shimmer Scale, but it obviously still has its uses, but I'm glad that they're buffing that one that way. Mogul's male health per stack is being buffed by 3. Trainer 3 Namzi damage increase plus 100% to 200%. So they're really buffing 3 trainer, and then they're changing the fireball damage, I'm assuming, to compensate for that. So 100 to 85, 130, 110. So they're slight buffing all the damage across the board. It's actually not slight, it's pretty significant. But this is supposed to cause people to rely less on Trainer 2, and if you really want Namzi to pop off, you put in the 3 Trainer. I actually really agree with this because Namzi 2 was a little too strong, but you still want Namzi to be in the game, so you buff Trainer 3, and then that pretty much just solves it, right? And then Trainer 3 also gets a flat damage buff as well. Onto the units, tier 1. Ezreal Mystic Shot damage. Yeah, I haven't seen Ezreal that much. He got nerfed a while back, and I feel like they nerfed him too much before. So it's good that they're buffing him back. This is actually a pretty big buff. It's around like 10%, 12%, somewhere around there. Senna attack damage being nerfed a little bit, but then the last Embrace base magic damage is being buffed. So less damage on the autos, more on the spells. So I guess in terms of early game item holding, that's really what people use Senna for. She's going to be slightly worse with attack damage and attack speed items, slightly better with the ability power items. It shouldn't change too much, but it's just like a slight readjustment there. Let's move on to units tier 2. So Kayn health buff, Kayn damage buff. Okay, dude, I feel like Kayn reroll has just never had a chance to actually shine this set yet. Is this going to be enough to put it in play? I don't think so. Maybe like a slight buff more would have been fine. Maybe like a little adjustment to a spell. We'll have to see, but I really just don't see Kayn reroll being a thing in this set so far, even after this buff. Nami ebb and flow damage is being nerfed a little bit, so the later part, so 1-star Nami is the same, but 2 and 3-star is being reduced. Healing, kind of the same thing, but it's slightly less nerfs. Obviously, like, Nami is one of the stronger 2-cost units just because you could 3-star her so easily, and Astral is a big thing right now. Is this enough to take out the Astral comp? I don't think so. I really don't think so. It still should be, like, at least low S tier. Twitch attack speed 0.65 to 0.7, assuming they didn't change anything else. So, yeah, Twitch getting a slight buff. Twitch carry, I saw one of my friends play this recently. He went for like 3-star Twitch. Just don't do it. Twitch just isn't like a solo carry. He's like a support unit because he lowers armor. He'll just never be a primary carry this set. It's just like one of the sad things you have to deal with because if you have a support ability, if you could solo carry, there's like an imbalance in the game, you know? Units tier 3, Lee Sin attack speed being buffed a little bit, and then Lee Sin Dragon Rage damage is being buffed as well. Yeah, Lee Sin's pretty hard to balance, I'd say, because sometimes he gets that AoE kick, and then, yeah, he's doing a ton of damage. So this damage buff isn't like by 15 damage, it's by 45, you know? So it's a bit of a difference if it hits multiple units. So he's very, like, snowbally, I would say. Like, either he really pops off or he doesn't. So it's a little tricky, I'd say, in terms of fixing Lee Sin. I'm not really too sure how this is going to affect things because I haven't seen Lee Sin in so long. So he's like pretty much in the dumpster right now. Maybe this puts him not in the dumpster. It's also not that big of a buff. I get the attack speeds quite a bit, but that one's pretty tough to say. Corki is out of control. Yeah, for sure. Corki's been dominating recently. So his big one, attack damage ratio, is being lowered by a couple percentage points. So 5% at 1 star and 15% at 2 star. Is that enough to really take him out? We'll have to see the other changes. I don't think this one alone would be enough. Maybe like 2 nerfs, 2 slight nerfs. This also like isn't that big of a thing. It's just like one part of his kit. Xayah health buff, Xayah attack speed buff. Okay, yeah, they over nerfed Xayah before, so this should be enough to bring her back into the game. It really depends what they do to Shyvana though. So now onto units tier 5. Shyvana Flame Breath now always targets the largest clump. Oh, that's a pretty big buff. Okay, so they're giving Shyvana a consistency buff, but we're also adding some counterplay. So mana nerf, okay, that makes sense. So she doesn't kill your team right away. That one's really tough to judge. I'm assuming they did a bunch of testing on this, right? So right now your Shyvana, if you played her yesterday, she would ult really quickly, but doesn't have the best targeting. Now she ults later, but always has good targeting. So in terms of balance, this one's really hard to judge. But in terms of getting mad at the game for bad targeting, that should never happen before. So that is a very big plus in the long run. We'll just have to see how big this mana nerf actually is. Items, Ornn, Eternal Winter, attack speed slow being nerfed a little bit. That's good. Rocket Propelled Fist, health nerf. Yeah, this is probably one of my favorite Ornn items ever, the Rocket Propelled Fist. Not because of the grab, but just because it gives so much health and it has like an okay effect. Gargoyle Stone Plate, armor and magic resistance per enemy targeting holder is being nerfed a little bit. Yeah, Stone Plate's always been solid. Most of the tank items I really like this set actually. I don't know if they're like OP or if it just fits more of like a playstyle that I like, but I really do like tank items this set. Augments, okay, Eye of the Storm, bonus ability power per unit at the center of the board being buffed a tiny bit. And the ability power post lightning strike is being buffed as well. So that should help all the Lee Sin comms, the Volibear comms, things like that. Intercosmic Gifts, orb chance to spawn a second orb is being changed from 50% to 100%. Okay. And then orb drop location shifted slightly higher to make it more noticeable. Okay, that's good. And then Stand United attack damage per active trait. 234 changed to 123. What I'm worried about with this is normally what I don't like about augments is that if you get a certain trait augment, your comp becomes like infinitely better compared to just a generic buff. And of course, trait augments should power up your traits more than like a generic augment buff. I'm not saying that that isn't a thing, but I feel like some of them are a little too extreme. For example, if you take a look at set reroll from the past, at least, if you ever get Scorch or Tantrum, you're just like infinitely better than anything else. So I do hope that they like tested this thoroughly, you know. This Stand United thing is actually pretty big. I don't think Stand United's going to be used much anymore. It's hard to balance this because the numbers are so defined. You change from 1, 2, 3 to 2, 3, 4. Like Stand United 1 got half as bad. Stand United 2 got a third as bad. And Stand United 3 got like a quarter as bad. That's a lot. If we look at most buffs and nerfs, they're like by 10% or less. And yeah, this one's pretty big. Small changes. Jade percent max health regeneration. Okay, it's being nerfed. Okay, thank God. That makes a lot of sense. Jade has just been like a quiet horse throughout the entirety of the set. It's always been like A tier, and yeah, it just hasn't gotten like a target because every patch there's always one thing that's just like the biggest issue. So yeah, I'm glad that they're finally targeting Jade. It's very small, so of course they don't need like a big nerf or anything. So it's just like a small touch there for, I think this is 6 Jade. Units tier 1, if Karma's target dies while Inner Flame is in the air, the projectile will now explode where the target died. Karma Inner Flame damage is being nerfed a little bit, and then set Knuckle Down damage 170% to 180. Sorry, being nerfed to 160. So they did find set reroll too strong. That's very interesting. I wonder if set reroll was actually good because of set or because of Shyvana. Units tier 2, Ashe volley damage is being buffed at 3-star. I've never seen Ashe 3-star carry, but I do kind of want to see it. Tier 4, Deja Wind Blast wave damage is being nerfed at 1 and 2-star. Yeah, Deja, Mirage is pretty good this patch, so yeah, it makes sense to touch it a little bit. I don't think we had any other Mirage changes in this patch yet, so this does make sense a lot. Shioyu Jade form attack damage ratio being reduced at 1 and 2 star. Not by too much, I would say. I feel like against the tanks in the early part of the fight, Shioyu doesn't one-tap the tanks anyways, so I don't think this is going to change that much. Maybe one-tapping some of the medium tanky units, she'll have a little more trouble now. So like on the secondary tanks, that's probably where this damage ratio nerf hits the hardest, because she always like one-shot squishies anyways, so that doesn't really matter. So this is mainly for like the secondary tanks. Talon Shadow Assault target stab base damage is being whoa, buffed a lot at 3 star. Okay, let's see if we could get 3 star Talon. Units tier 5, Aoshin Lightning Rain damage being buffed at 1 star. Okay, that's a little worrisome. I never want Aoshin 1 to be too strong because we already played that patch in the first patch of the set. Pike Death from Below Execute Max Health Threshold is being buffed at, oh wait. So Pike 3 won't execute enemies anymore. He'll just deal, okay, a lot of damage. So he'll just one-tap everything at 3 star. So, okay, that makes sense. It's a 3 star legendary. Yasuo is now invulnerable when performing his execute animation. Okay. Augments, Cluttered Mind can only be offered on 2-1. Makes sense. I don't know why this was even a thing. Late game specialist, players no longer have to pick up gold granted by late game specialists. Okay, that's good. The gold is now deposited directly into the player's bank once they reach level 9. Reckless Spending can no longer be offered on 2-1. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense too. It's pretty useless at that point. Hyperroll, okay, who cares? Bug fixes, False Crescendo. If Sona's ability's target is hit by Zephyr, Sona will now pick the furthest unit instead of waiting for that unit to land. Hit a skill shot, Thresh no longer occasionally fails to cast his ability if he is hit by Zephyr. Retempered Fate, Bard's ability accuracy while searching for the largest clump is improved, and this change only affects situations where Bard's enemies were all isolated. Deja will search in a wider line when searching for the most enemies in a line. Frostbite Verdant Veil will no longer fail to prevent Frozen Heart's attack speed slow on away boards. And then VFX indicators will now update more accurately for players on Pandora's bench. Okay. And then Siphon's Bite can no longer still be dodged in specific situations where he was CC'd after his charge while his target had dodge chance items. I didn't know Siphon's thing was undodgeable, but I guess it is. There's like a lot of weird bugs with Siphon. Actually, in this whole set there have been a lot of bugs, I feel. There's always something I'm yelling about whenever I play a game, and it's not because of anything that the game is normally responsible for. It's just like a bug that happens, and I'm like, what the hell, you know? It's unfortunate. There's like a lot of neat stuff in this set, and I guess that just opens the game up for more bugs. But overall, what do I think of the patch? I want Ezreal reroll to be a thing again. I like one-cost rerolls. Like, the TFT team seems to not really like them that much. They always nerf them or like make sure they're not out of control. But I always feel like it should be an option. There are a lot of patches where it's not an option to one-cost reroll, but I always feel like it should be. But whenever it is an option, people overplay it. So I guess there's like a trickiness there. Lee Sin comp should be back. I'm looking forward to playing with them. Or like Volibear benefits from the Lee Sin buffs as well. Xayah, you gotta be careful with Xayah. She's always been good, and like she was worse than Corki last patch. But well, yeah, that one's tough. It depends how big the Shyvana change is. It's not really dependent on Xayah, it's more on Shyvana, because like hitting that late game right now with Shyvana 1 star even is just so good. I like the trainer change a lot. That's probably like the best change they did in this patch. Just like dedicate people more to the 3 trainer when you're going for Namzi instead of just like splashing in 2 trainer just because Lulu fits in every single composition. So I'm really looking forward to that actually. That's probably like the best change of the patch. Kayn, is Kayn's 2 star ever going to be a thing? I don't know. Corki, I feel like could have been nerfed a bit more. So I do wish that they did that. I guess they nerfed Stand United. Stand United is more targeted towards Corki. It's like one of his best augments. So I guess maybe they indirectly nerfed him through that. But yeah, we'll have to see. I'll be releasing the meta snapshot on Friday on my website, BunnyMuffins.lol, if you guys want to check that out in case you guys want to know what comps to play during the week. But again, this patch will be in the mid-set finale, so that should be exciting to watch. That's in 2 weeks, I think. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this patch in the comments section down below, and hopefully you guys are going to enjoy the rest of the week. But apart from that, I will see you all later.